What I'm reviewing today is the laser ammo smokeless range. If where you are is anywhere like Texas, then during the summer it can easily get into 100-degree weather. Very bright, very sunny. And as much as I love shooting, it's kind of miserable to go outside in this type of heat and this type of sun. You can also go into indoor ranges, but they're usually very busy right now. The air quality is not so well and it's very loud and it's just not enjoyable. So what I've been doing is trying to find a nice at-home alternative. I'm a big airsoft guy, I'm a big laser SIRT guy, and so what I came across was the laser ammo smokeless range. And the laser ammo smokeless range runs between $300 to $400 depending on if you are an NRA instructor or not. Since I'm an NRA instructor, I got it just above $300, but at retail is about $400. And what it comes with is it comes with this box with a software download code in it. But the main things it comes with is this high-speed camera that's designed to be more sensitive to pick up lasers against preferably a projected screen or a TV or a monitor, anything that also displays screens. So instead of other type of training equipment like the laser software that allows you to just pick up against a flat background, this allows you to play games and to do videos and scenarios and a lot more stuff than other systems do, which is great, or you would hope so, because this is costing 4 times more than one of those. And so what it comes with is the box, the software code, this camera, and the main thing about this camera is the drivers that come with it. They basically turn your laser into a mouse. So it allows you to do all kinds of really neat stuff with it. So for this, they generally recommend that you have a projector. The projector they recommend, the cheapest one, starts at $2,500. I don't want to pay $2,500, and so I did a little bit of research. They want something that's at least 720, at least, I think a little bit higher than that, with 2,000 and plus lumens. They recommend you using a more popular or a more commercial name like a ViewSonic or something along those lines, because what a lot of people will do is they will go buy a cheap Amazon $100 LED projector that's not bright enough. I didn't really test those. I picked up a ViewSonic for a little around $400 that I'm hoping to do other stuff with that would seem to be bright enough and that seem to have a good enough resolution. Just as important as that is going to be the background. I initially had it shining up against a more shiny background, hoping that that reflection would work a lot nicer, but it ended up causing a lot of extra problems instead of using just a plain white wall. I'm also planning on ordering a mobile screen, so hopefully I can do this in other places, in the backyard, in the garage, all kinds of different locations. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a nice review of this. I've got it plugged in. They recommend a very high-end computer. I haven't verified it. I have a very high-end computer, so I've had no problems. I've ran it a little bit on lower-end computers and it's not so bad. And I think the reason why they want such a high-end computer is because the software is not very optimized. A lot of the 3D stuff is not very optimized, and so they kind of went the easy way out and they go, just have a really good computer instead of trying to fix their problems. But we'll get to that later. It does not come with the SIRT as pictured, and that's just something extra I threw in there. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to plug it in and start showing you the setup and everything from there. So once you plug everything in, you're going to go through the settings and configuration. The main thing they want you to set up is to be able to have the camera pick up the projector in its entirety. Once you do that, you're going to be able to auto-calibrate it, and it does pretty much all the work for you. There's only a few tricky parts to it. You want to make sure the background screen is not too shiny or reflective, and that there's not too many lights going on in the background, because that'll mess up the auto configuration. But as long as you have it fitting inside the box, you're pretty much good to go. If you run into different issues, you can do some adjustments by making it go brighter or making it go darker, or depending on if you need to, you can also invert it as well without any much issues. Once you have it all nice within the box, you're going to run your auto calibrate, and it does all the work for you. What this does is it's going to turn your laser lights into a mouse cursor. It's checking for brightness, it's checking the screen. Once it's done, it leads you to this screen, which allows you to test it. From here, you can take your SIRT, and you'll be able to shoot at the screen, and it will register as a hit without much issue. If you run into any problems before this, it will come up with an error. For example, your screen might be too bright, or the projector itself is not bright enough. But it will give you a few options. It could be a little bit clearer, but it could also be a lot worse too. The only downside is, depending on your lighting, how sensitive it is on multiple shots is going to be a little bit tricky. So for example, if I hold the laser on it and I start moving around, you can see it follows my light. Sometimes better than others. I wish it didn't follow it at all, because depending on how much background light I have going, it will sometimes pick up one shot as two shots. So if I'm doing a one-shot target, sometimes it's going to register it as two shots, depending on the settings or depending on the scenario. I wish there was a setting built in for that, because that makes it a little trickier. A lot of times I can test it depending on the lighting by shining the light and seeing how quickly it follows. Like right now it's doing pretty good, so I'm not too worried about it. But a lot of times if it's a lot more brighter in here than usual, it'll follow that laser pretty quick, which means I'm going to have to be more careful depending on what drill I'm going to do that day. You might pick it up as twice. The main thing that I like about this is that it actually registers as a mouse driver. So once I exit this screen, I'm able to use it as I would a mouse itself. So I can pretty much do normal computer things with it without any issue, because it registers it as a mouse click. That right there, I believe, is worth the money itself, because some of the scenarios that it comes with by default, I think, are really lackluster and not all that great. But if, as long as it registers as a mouse click, then I can create my own scenarios without much problem, which is one of the main reasons why I purchased this. Because some of the ones, as you'll see in future reviews, are not worth the money that they're asking. But with this, I can create my own custom stuff with no issue at all, and that's really a main bonus point to it, which I'll show you here in a moment. So once you've gotten your camera all set up to go, then you're going to go ahead and open the Smokeless Range program itself. So what I've done to make it easier to watch, because of the camera and the view, is I've gone ahead and set this to record my screen and not so much the projector. Because even though it looked clear for me, having to run this multi-camera screen setup was making the picture a little bit too blurry. So I've gone ahead and I've just switched it over to this screen itself. It looks just the same for me as it does for you, and it looks quite great on the wall. So what we're going to do is, with the Smokeless Range by itself comes with 10 drills. Right here you can have 12. That's because I've been playing with 2 extra ones that I will cover later. But for right now, we're just going to do the basic 10 that it comes with. For the amount of money that you're spending on this, I think that they could have given you better ones, especially for the price. But since, like I said earlier, it lets you view it as a mouse input, which makes it a lot more adjustable in the future. Because in addition to these standard 10, there's a lot of downloadable content for it. Even though each one of those run about $250 to $700, most of them which I definitely do not think is worth that money. But we'll get to those when we get to them. So the first one we're going to cover is Bomb Blast. Bomb Blast, what it does, it's a ball that bounces around your screen, and the faster you go, the faster it goes. It's not too bad to play with, but it's definitely not my favorite. Some of these you might not be able to see the mouse because the mouse will be hidden, and since it's going off the screen, sometimes the laser is not going to show up, which is kind of how it is, but you know, you at least get to see it. And each one of these, they kind of give you different options. This first one gives you a time limit, how long do you want to do the drill, and the second one is the scale, how big do you want the picture to be. So we're going to go ahead and go off of the default. Gives me a time limit, timeline, and then the each time you hit it, you can see I got 7 out of 2. Could have been better, could have been worse, but it's just a reflex movement drill. It's not really something I'm going to play with often, just because I can't really think of a good drill that's going to be based off of. Maybe movement. There are a lot better ones than that. From there, we're just going to go on to the next one. The next one's Can Toss. I like this one a little better. I'm planning on probably playing it with it a little bit more when I get one of the laser adapters for the airsoft shotguns, because what Can Toss does is it just kind of shoots up a can and you have to hit it. Same basic options as before. You're going to have a 10 count and your target scale. I'm going to go ahead and try this one. Each one jumps up and your goal is to try and hit them. Oh, miss. Even though I'm pretty sure I missed that one, the first or second one, the accuracy on this particular drill is not the best. Some of them you have to get right on it. This one you kind of have to get close, which I think is kind of a problem. I'm pretty positive I missed one of them. We'll move on to the next one. Dueling tree. I like the dueling tree. This one's a fun one to do with a partner. It's your classic dueling tree. They're going to give you a few settings, alternating, pairs, and splits, and your target count. I'm going to start right with the first one. If I can hit it. So you can even use the laser, but you got to kind of be right on it. I think this is kind of a design flaw. If they're expecting you to use the laser to adjust these, they should kind of make them a lot bigger, but it is what it is. I know a lot of times I recommend you have this running on 2 screens so you can use the mouse, but I think the design could be a little better. We're going to start with this. Pretty standard dueling tree. Rubber goes faster. You win. Nothing too special about that. Try pairs. Pretty similar. Each one kind of just gives you a different start position. If you haven't heard on those last 2, it's actually registering my shot twice. One shot's been giving 2 responses. I wish there was kind of a better way for it to judge that setting wise, but sometimes that just kind of happens. That's really kind of annoying, and for $400 it shouldn't do that. But I'm hoping to fix it on myself. But in actuality, it shouldn't do that. That's pretty bad. It definitely shows up later when you try to do some of this IPSC type stages, and it creates an issue where it counts a 1 shot as twice, and it could really mess up your score. get them? Not too bad. The next few I think are a little bit better, but the amount of money you're paying, there should be a lot more higher production values for it. For example, the max target drill. All that really does, if I remember, is that it gives you a bunch of different shapes, and you have to shoot the one that goes along with it. I'll go ahead and show you. I think one number of passes is way too short on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and move it up. I'm going to start it.
Shooter ready. Stand by.
As you see, I have to match the yellow triangle. So I shoot the yellow triangle. Red square, red square. Circle, circle. Not too bad because it's timed. But really, I mean, $400. And you can do it with numbers, you can do it with shapes. Let's go ahead and try it on a harder difficulty. And go target.
Stand by.
So I guess, see how I picked up that shot twice? Picked that one up 3 times. That's bad. Twice. Right. Pick those up as misses. Even though I shot it right, since it shot it 2 or 3 times, you picked up misses. That's not good. It could be a problem with the SIRT, that the laser is staying on too long, or it could be too sensitive. It's definitely something I'm going to have to play with later. Actually, I want to know what sound is. I don't think I've tried that one. Let's go back to easy. Let's put on sound and see what that is.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Yellow.
Ah, it just says the name for it. Yellow optic. Blue optic.
Square.
2 square. Picked up that shot as a double, gave me a miss. That's not very encouraging. Especially for $400. Not too bad. That one's kind of fun, but the next one is move a target drill. What that does is you generally get to pick a target, and there are many different kinds that you can pick. You can pick the scale, how many passes it's going to do, left to right, right to left, and it's just going to move. And your goal is to try, if I remember, to hit it as many times as possible. It's going to go left to right. So your goal, that guy's really small, is to hit them. Not too bad. I don't mind that one as much because it allows me to do just simple repetitions. Just have that set to 10 and just sit there and work on left to right. I wish, and I don't think it does, is it doesn't, it does tell you speed. Okay, good. Can you increase that? Because once you get used to it, you don't want it to be too easy. So there goes the other faster. Not too bad, hit it once. That was okay. If I remember, I think you can load your own custom, but I haven't really played with that yet. Speed drill, pretty similar. This one I actually like. It might be one of my favorite ones on here because it just gives you kind of like a carnival game. You have to shoot just the red ones in a certain amount of time. So this one I like quite a bit. So you have to shoot the red. And as you heard on that one, it picked up a lot of double shots. When I was working on this in a different room, I did not have that problem. I don't know if it's this wall, maybe it's this distance, could be the lighting, but that is sure picking up a lot of double. But I like that one. The next one is pretty straightforward. To target shoot. Basically looks like this. You can pick different type of targets. Let me get my mouse. You can pick different type of targets. You can set distances. You can do all kinds of fun stuff with this one. The only downside I have with this, which I'll cover later, because right now I'm just using the pistol, is if I'm doing stuff with the rifle to try and work on longer distance, I have to worry about side over bore with the laser. I have it connected to my AR rifle, and so point of aim is about 2 inches higher than the point of impact. That's something I'm going to have to play with. It works nice for close range stuff, so I can worry about side over bore, but once I'm trying to shoot out the longer distance, it's really going to kind of be counterproductive to what I'm working on. So this works pretty simple. This one I don't mind so much just to do basic drills. So you work on fundamentals, squeezing, all that kind of stuff. But you can tell if I hold the laser down, it acts like a machine gun. So that's not good. But I didn't have this trouble in other rooms, so it could be the lighting, it could be a few other things. But it's not necessarily a good sign. But that one's not too bad, just for basic drills. And you can see your score. And give me this. I'll let you zoom it in. I actually kind of like that one. I just wish the laser pickup was a little better. Next one we have is tracking drill. If I remember, it's pretty similar to the last one, 2 or 3 of them ago, where you have to follow them around. Yep, this is like this, and every time you shoot it, and you kind of get the general idea. Not too bad. I'd look for the better ones. You kind of see what you saw. Not too bad. Nothing too exciting. Different targets, different movement. Transitional, I think, is very similar. I think it turns, if I remember. Oh, it just pops up. It just pops up. Not too bad. That one's kind of fun. The last one you have is trap shooting. I think this one would be much more fun with an airsoft shotgun because it is kind of hard with a pistol. And with the small dot on this, even with the airsoft shotgun, I really kind of wonder how accurate you're going to be on it. So once you get it to start, it's going to fly away from you. You're going to try and hit it. Not too bad on that one. Kind of fun, nothing too special. I do notice that it does say 10 targets, and it only gave me 3 targets. Alright, 10 targets. Maybe there's an error. It only gave me 3 of them, target count of 10. Oh, I missed that one. Only gave me 5 targets? It must be up to 10, I guess. I don't know. And I'll cover these last 2 Game Range Alpha, which is more of these. in the competitive IPSC challenge, which so far is my favorite one. But that kind of covers a little bit of it. My opinion of it is kind of interesting. If you look at it just straight out of the box like this, I think the camera's great. Once I play with the adjustments on it, so it's not so double shotty, I know it worked better in other rooms, and I really enjoy it. And the fact that it works as a mouse driver instead is really what sells it for me, because I don't really like any of these, and I think for $400 it should have included much better games than that, much more in depth and with higher production. So I have to assume all the money went into the camera, because the camera itself is really nice. It works pretty well. The automated system makes this really super easy, but when you just deal with it by itself, it's not that good. The game software. The best way I'm going to have to do it for me is to try and come up with my own variations of this, because in the future I'm hoping to do this in other rooms, and even better, I've got a projector screen on order, and I'm hoping I'll be able to do this outside when it's not too sunny. That's my goal. That way I can do movement and I can do other stuff. So far right now, is it worth the $400? I'm not really sure. I really like the camera, and the stuff I am going to do out of it I think is worth the money. But the camera itself, if you could buy the camera for half price, that would be even better. But a lot of the software on here I find to be a little bit more disappointing than I would like. It reminds me of early 2000 Flash games, which is on my goal to do, is to go find some early 2000 Flash games, that click on it and play it. So I have a lot of stuff planned for it. It's just what it comes with out of the box. Scenario wise, I think could be a whole lot better for the amount of money you're spending. So I like it, but I'm also a little disappointed. Over the next couple weeks, you're going to see me playing with more of the game settings. I plan on buying some of their adapters for airsoft. I plan on bringing this to our weeknight class and seeing what my students think about it. When it's not 100 degrees outside, I'm going to try it outside. I want to use it in the garage with the car. I mean, I have a lot of stuff planned. I have a lot of plans for this projector and computer and screen. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to get my $400 out of it. But by itself, I'm not necessarily sure if it's worth it. It's not that much more fun than just using the SIRT and the iTarget Pro or something along those lines. So hopefully that helped you out a little bit. If not, it's still pretty fun to play with.